Intro. A king no one expected more than 2,500 years ago. The ancient world was ruled by powerful empires: Babylon, Egypt, Persia. Kings rose and fell through war, conquest, and power. Cities burned, nations disappeared. But in the middle of this violent age, something unusual happened. A foreign king conquered the most powerful empire of his time. And instead of enslaving the people he defeated, he set them free. Among those people were the Jews. After decades of exile in Babylon, they were suddenly given the chance to return home. And the man responsible for this decision was not a Jewish king. He was a Persian ruler. His name was Cyrus the Great, and his actions would change Jewish history forever. But why would a conqueror show mercy to a conquered people? To understand that story, we must go back to the fall of Jerusalem. Chapter 1. The Destruction of Jerusalem. In the 6th century BC, the kingdom of Judah was caught between powerful empires. To the north and east stood Babylon, one of the most powerful kingdoms in the ancient world. Its king, Nebuchadnezzar II, was a formidable ruler and military commander. In 586 BC, his army marched toward Jerusalem. The city resisted, but it could not withstand the might of the Babylonian Empire. The walls were breached, the city was destroyed, and the most sacred place in Jewish religion, the first temple of Solomon, was burned to the ground for the Jewish people. This was a devastating moment. Thousands were killed, and thousands more were taken as prisoners. They were forced to leave their homeland and march hundreds of miles to Babylon. This event became known as the Babylonian exile. For decades, Jewish communities lived far from their homeland, far from their temple, and far from the city they once called home. Many believed they would never return, but history had other plans. Chapter 2. The Rise of a New Power. While Babylon ruled the region, a new power was quietly growing in the east: the Persian Empire. At the center of this rising power was a young and ambitious ruler, Cyrus. Cyrus was not born into the largest empire, but he possessed extraordinary leadership and military skill. He united the Persian tribes, he defeated the Medes, and soon he began expanding his kingdom across the region. Unlike many rulers of his time, Cyrus had a different approach to conquest. Most conquerors ruled through fear. Cities that resisted were destroyed. Peoples were enslaved, cultures were erased, but Cyrus believed in something different. Instead of forcing conquered peoples to abandon their traditions, he allowed them to keep their customs, their religions, their identities. This approach would make his empire incredibly stable and incredibly powerful. Chapter 3. The Fall of Babylon. In 539 BC, Cyrus marched toward Babylon. Babylon was legendary. Its massive walls were considered nearly impossible to break. The city was rich, powerful, and heavily defended. But Cyrus was a brilliant strategist. According to ancient sources, his army diverted the Euphrates River. The water level dropped, and Persian soldiers entered the city through the riverbed. Babylon fell with surprisingly little destruction. For many citizens, the Persians were not seen as invaders, but as liberators. And among the many peoples living in Babylon were the Jewish exiles. Their fate was about to change. Chapter 4. The decree that changed history after taking control of Babylon. Cyrus made a decision that stunned the ancient world. Instead of forcing deported peoples to remain in exile, he allowed them to return home. Among them were the Jewish people. Cyrus issued a decree allowing Jews to return to Jerusalem. Not only that, he allowed them to rebuild their temple. This moment is recorded in the book of Ezra in the Hebrew Bible. It describes how Cyrus gave permission for the temple in Jerusalem to be rebuilt. For a people who had spent decades in exile, this was extraordinary. A foreign emperor had just restored their hope. Chapter 5. The Return to Jerusalem. After the decree of Cyrus, thousands of Jews began the long journey back to Jerusalem. The city they returned to was not the city they remembered. Jerusalem was still scarred by destruction. The temple was gone, the walls were broken, but the people began rebuilding, stone by stone, year by year. Eventually, the second temple was constructed. It would stand for centuries and become the center of Jewish religious life. Without Cyrus's decree, this return might never have happened. Chapter 6. Cyrus in Jewish Tradition. Cyrus became one of the few non-Jewish rulers praised in Jewish scripture. In the book of Isaiah, Cyrus is called the Lord's Anointed. This is remarkable, because the title Anointed was usually reserved for kings chosen by God. Yet Cyrus, a Persian king, received this title. For many Jewish communities, he was not just a conqueror, he was a deliverer. Chapter 7. The Persian Empire under Cyrus and his successors. The Persian Empire became one of the largest empires in history. It stretched from Central Asia to Egypt, from India to the Mediterranean Sea. Yet the empire remained stable for centuries. Part of this stability came from Cyrus's policies. Instead of forcing unity through fear, Persia allowed diversity. Different cultures, languages, and religions were allowed to exist within the empire. This made Persia one of the most tolerant empires of the ancient world. Chapter 8. The Cyrus Cylinder. One of the most famous artifacts from this period is the Cyrus cylinder, discovered in Babylon in the 19th century. It contains a declaration attributed to Cyrus. The text describes how he restored temples and allowed displaced peoples to return to their homes. Some historians even consider it an early statement of human rights. Whether or not that description is fully accurate, it clearly shows Cyrus's unique approach to leadership. Conclusion: a king remembered. History remembers many conquerors, but few are remembered for mercy. Cyrus the Great built one of the largest empires of the ancient world, yet his legacy was not only conquest, it was also restoration. For the Jewish people, his decision ended decades of exile. It allowed them to rebuild their temple, and it restored their connection to their homeland. More than 2,500 years later, the story of Cyrus still echoes across history, a Persian king who changed the fate of an entire nation.